For that beginner who, loves music, walk us through the steps.
Even if you're not into the crypto part of it yet, you can come onto our platform and just listen to the artists we have on there. We have some exclusive songs. We're going to get more exclusive songs. We're also trying to build that artist-fan relationship in a way so that we can provide experiences. Like a great example is last summer, we hosted a barbecue at Snoop's compound in LA. And so people who
awesome.
In the ecosystem, they have access to that. It'll be concert tickets behind the scenes. You can do interviews, merch type stuff, obviously. All of the different artists on the platform are going to be offering things that are sort of catered to what their vibe is. Marty Grimes is going to be doing a thing called Munchies with Marty, where you can actually go to his place and cook together, which is the sort of thing that that's kind of insane and you don't know you want that. But if it's an option, I can go to one of my favorite artists' house and make mac and cheese with them, or I can go to a baseball game with somebody, or have access to photo shoots.
Welcome back to another episode of Girl in the Verse, the video podcast, the place to be if you are new to Web3, perhaps curious about crypto, but you don't want to get too technical. Hi, my name is Melina. I'm your content creator. I've been a content creator for over 10 years. I like to say I'm your hype woman, asking all the questions so we can together better understand this technology and how the blockchain will change our lives. Don't take my word for it. Listen to all the podcast episodes we have released. Everyone that comes on talks about how the blockchain will change your life, my life, everyone's life. So just don't take my word for it. Just listen to this show. But before we get started, I do have a favor to ask. As always, please subscribe, comment down below, like the show. This not only helps me, but it helps the YouTube algorithm, Spotify's algorithm, everybody's algorithm know that you love this type of content, but it also helps me amplify the work that I am doing. And I always say, if you let me know that you love this, I get to create more of it, right? So talk and you shall receive everything you want. So please take this moment, subscribe, like. And today I am joined by Matt, who is also known as Taco, which, we can get into that. I love Taco so much, who is the community manager for Gala Music and Gala Film. How are you, Matt, or Taco?
I am doing great. Yeah, it's crazy. Everyone just knows me as Taco. So I'll bet most of the people in the Gala community don't even know my actual real name.
I love that. Taco, do you eat tacos every Taco Tuesday? Is that something you're like, I got to do it because that's my name? Or
you kind of embrace it. It's one of those things where I was using it as a Discord name for years and years from gaming. And then I got involved in Web3 and with Gala, and I was on Discord a ton, and you don't ever change your name on there. And then I started working for Gala, but that's how everyone already knew me in the community. So you just kind of embrace it, and that's who I am now. It's like Madonna.
I love it. I love it. So I guess maybe to start off, by the way, I am wearing this cool Gala Music t-shirt. Why don't you, I guess to start us out, explain to us what Gala Music is? Because Gala is doing a bunch of different things, but let's start with Gala Music. What is it? As far as I know, it is a place where you can get rewarded by listening to music, but why don't you tell us what Gala Music is building and what the focus is?
Sure. Big question right out of the gate. What is Gala? I'm actually going to take a step back and start with Gala Games, because that's where I kind of came into the ecosystem. During the pandemic, I had some downtime, so I kind of got into Web3 and crypto like a lot of people. And then I found games that had NFTs, that had utility and that had earnings, and my mind was kind of blown. And so I spent a lot of time a part of the Gala Games community. And then Gala said, this is pretty great. Why don't we do this in music? Why don't we do this in film? And so started those two. And that's when I joined the company. I saw they were doing the music and there was an open position for community manager. And I was like, yeah, that's me right there. Let's do that. Because a lot of it is modeled after what they were doing with games. And so it's a music.
Sorry, I'm like pausing already because I'm here thinking, what did they do for the gaming aspect that then they did for music? Or I'm not even sure if you were going to jump into that, but I was going straight into my question.
Yeah, interrupt me anytime because I'm a talker. I'll just keep rolling.
I love it.
Yeah, so how Gala Music is a little bit different is we're going to have a token as a part of our platform. And so we're selling NFTs that are the music tracks, and the people who own those tracks or who own nodes earn a part of the distribution of our token. And so there's that whole reward mechanism built in, which is different than a lot of the Web3 music platforms where it's more like collectible based. These have actual earning power behind them, which is pretty fun.
So how does that work? Walk us through it, right? For that beginner who, loves music, is starting out in their, in this world of crypto, Web3. Walk us through the steps. Are you listening to your favorite, artist on Spotify? And then there's how does this all work?
Sure. So, I mean, first and foremost, we're trying to build it in a way that even if you're not into the crypto part of it yet, into the Web3 NFT space, you can come onto our platform and just listen to the artists we have on there. We have some exclusive songs. We're going to get more exclusive songs. And so let's say it's a Kings of Leon, or it's, an emerging artist who you really like. You can come to our platform to listen to songs that maybe you can't listen to in other places. We're also trying to build that artist-fan relationship in a way so that we can provide experiences for those fans that they can't get in other places. And so when you own an NFT or you own a node, you're earning rewards for those. And then you can apply all that toward our all access. It's basically a fan store where we're going to have, actually, by the time this airs, we probably do have, you have access to different things. Like a great example is last summer, we hosted a barbecue at Snoop's compound in LA.
That's
and
awesome.
So people who have an ecosystem, they have access to that. It'll be concert tickets, behind the scenes. You can do interviews, merch type stuff, obviously. All of the different artists on the platform are going to be offering things that are sort of catered to what their vibe is. Marty Grimes, who I just had a Twitter space with, is going to be doing a thing called Munchies with Marty, where you can actually go to his place and cook together, which is the sort of thing that that's kind of insane, and you don't know you want that. But if it's an option, I can go to one of my favorite artists' house and make mac and cheese with them, or I can go to a baseball game with somebody, or have access to photo shoots. There's going to be a lot of different fun, unique stuff that I think fans of these artists are going to be super interested in.
I hear it from a lot of my girlfriends, right? We love Talor Swift. We're trying to get tickets to go to her show, and we're going crazy, and we're here in Canada, and she's not so far yet. There's no Canadian tour dates. Why do you think, especially for artists right now, you talked about the fan base. Why do you think it's so important, and why artists are going back to that? Because I like to think about my Backstreet Boys days, where I was so obsessed with them. I would want to, go see them. I remember back in the day, we'd look up oh my God, I heard they were going to this restaurant, and we'd rush there, Why do you think artists are going back to the fan base? What's been the gap here for, I feel like a long time? They've been unreachable.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And you're right. It seems like there was a really long time where there wasn't that same kind of access, except for from the music side. You can go on Spotify and you can listen to everybody essentially for free. And you have all of that, which is great. But it's been a while, I think, since you could get whatever that next level thing is, which is the stuff that I care about. I'm at a place in my life where I'm looking for, what are the other things I can do? How can I connect with these artists in a different way? And I think a lot of people feel like that. And it's great to see artists we're circling back toward the fan bases, their communities, connecting in that more genuine way, which is great. And I think Web3 is a great place for that. And I think we allow for that differently. Now through NFTs, artists can identify who those actual fans are, versus if I'm an artist and I go play at a show, I know all these people came to watch me, but I don't know who they are. And so through like what we're doing with Gala, if you go on our Discord, one of the bands we have who's with us is City of Sound. They just did a thing where they sent out like a bunch of like a little merch pack to their fans based on, these are the people who hold our NFTs. We know who they are. We can identify it and we can give back to them in this way, which is just, I think it's super cool. And it's great to see even from like those bigger artists doing things like Snoop doing the barbecue. We have a lot of stuff planned with our other bigger named artists, which is great. It's great for fans. And I think it's great for them to be connecting in that way.
You know, you are the community manager. So my question to you is, why is community so important today?
Man, that feels like an easy question, right? Why is community important? I learned this at least a little bit more through the pandemic, as you don't have those same connections to people, and we need that, right? Like it's such a big part of our mental health and just our well-being in general, having a connection to people. And so whether it's Gala or Web3 or whatever it is, being able to come together with a group of people who have, you know, common thoughts around things or the same goals or the same passions, it's good for us.
How do you define building a community? Because we hear that a lot. Oh, we're going to build a community, right? Like, how do you define building that said community, especially for artists, right? Like when I bring it back to like Gala music, how do we define community?
So for me, it's just bringing a group of people together who have shared interests or a shared passion, a shared mindset. And in this case, it's around music, but it's more than that, because once you're there, like our Discord is really active and we do a lot of events. Like it's building, I think, real friendships and relationships. I've been with Gala for 14 months. And there are a lot of people in our Discord or on Twitter who I consider like actual real friends now. Like you see them at events, you talk to them outside of Discord. And so for me, that's what it is. It's a support network. It's, you know, we're in an age now where, like, I live in Western Massachusetts. I'm not near any hotspots. And so it's social for me. You know, it's that human connection, even though a lot of times it's online. And I think a good community has that sort of genuine feel to it, that camaraderie, that I think you see some places and you maybe don't see it in other places, but that's what it is for me.
I love that. And I want to take it back to what you were saying. Certain artists are thinking of ways to build these experiences with their fan base. Why do you think we're getting to this point? Because I'll go back to what I was saying before. When I was growing up and listening to my favorite artists, it almost seemed impossible. I almost had to stalk them when I knew they were in my city, right? And then like figure out which restaurant they were going to go eat at. But today, it almost seems like the artist wants to be with its community.
Yeah, I think part of it is we're getting to a place where it's easier for artists to identify who those specific real people are. 10 years ago, like you would have a show and you can go to it. And as an artist, you could say, oh, I know all these people are my fans because they're here, but I don't know who they are. Now we're in a place where you have Twitter, you have Discord, you have things like Web3, where an artist can say, look at specifically, these are the people who hold my NFTs. I know who they are. I can connect with them individually. We have a band, City of Sound, on our platform who has a channel in our Discord, and they just gave out like some little merch packs they shipped out to people who own their NFTs because they can identify those people. They can say, hey, we're in this room in Discord. I know you're a supporter because you own my NFT. I want to connect with you. I want to give back to you. I want to foster that relationship. And I think that's where we are now with a lot of artists.
I love that. Now I want to get into this t-shirt. So we were at VeeCon together. That's where we met. And everyone was like freaking out over these t-shirts. And as you guys can see, it's turning a little pink. It's purple. How do we make sense of this? I'm wondering if I wear this outside, people are gonna be like, is she dirty? Is she is she sweaty? Is she
So I'm old. I remember a time where the color change t-shirts were pretty hot. And our events team is exceptional. Shout out Jamie and Lauren. I don't remember which one had the idea for these t-shirts. And I'll admit, I thought that feels like a little over the top, but we get there and people freak out because I guess we just haven't seen these in a while. I couldn't begin to tell you the science behind how a t-shirt works, how it changes with different temperatures. It's magic to me, but yeah, they're super cool. And it's so fun, like after VeeCon, to see people posting it like on Twitter and on YouTube. It's like, oh, that's a Gala shirt. Like, oh, that's a Gala. Like I left VeeCon and walking through the airport, you see a whole bunch of people wearing them. It's like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so talk to us about, so we were at VeeCon, we had this beautiful booth area. And at the time, just minutes before, we were chatting, Jordin Sparks was about to come on and have this intimate session. So talk to us a little about these IRL events, these in real life events. What are we trying to achieve? And maybe tell us a bit about like that Jordin Sparks experience. Like, why would someone, and I have like 3 questions, but why would someone like Jordin Sparks say, hey, you know what? I want to be a part of this. What is the this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with our in real life events, we've done a few different things. We've done some open mic competitions. We've done just some like emerging artist showcases. We have a lot of other different stuff planned, but with VeeCon, that booth was really special. It's basically a mobile recording studio that was massive. And they built it out so that it like a legit real recording studio in there. And we kind of broke it up. So one of the days we had a bunch of artists in there recording, and the people at VeeCon got to vote on which one they liked the best to perform on the main stage. We did some different podcasts and different things. We had Jordin in there, who was also, she was the feature on the main stage on Saturday night. For Jordin and for a lot of artists, they're seeing the way that Web3 is expanding. They're seeing the benefits of it. And so Gala was a great way for her to enter the space and be a part of things. She has been amazing. She's been all in. She loves the idea of how you can connect with fans in a different way, because she's like legitimately cares about her fans. After we did, it was like an hour we spent in the pod with her. She went through a process. She answered some questions. And then I don't know if it was my expectation that then she would just kind of like go be in a private place away from everybody. But immediately afterwards, like she came out and she was talking to people and taking pictures and spent a lot of time just being a part of that, which was, I thought, super amazing. She was great.
So for artists, right? Like I'm trying to think, how are we, and I'm saying pitching or selling, but how do we go about explaining to the artists today that this is, Web3 will help you, like you said, figure out your fans, who they are, how they want, what they want to buy, what they're into. Like, what is the sales pitch? Let's call it that, even though it's not a sales pitch, but you understand what I mean. What is the
For sure.
What is the it factor for the artist?
Yeah, I mean, one is that different way to connect with your fans, which I think is important. It's also, you have more control, I think, with Gala and also the other Web3 music platforms, which is amazing. I think people get the idea that we don't like each other. Like I should dislike some of the other Web3 platforms because they're technically competition, but we're all growing in the same space and we're all trying to achieve the same thing, which is, mass adoption and bring people into Web3. And so I'm a cheerleader for the other music platforms, and everyone's a little bit different. And so I guess we're competing, but it's also, we're all in this together, if that makes sense. So a big pitch is the control. So if you're on a label deal, there are certain requirements around the songs you can release, the song length, how it's released. They have a big say in how you're doing things. We give artists a lot of freedom around, if you want to drop a song that's 10 minutes long, drop a song that's 10 minutes long. If you're traditionally a rock artist, if Kings of Leon says, hey, you know what, we think we might want to do something way more pop driven, or we want to shift and do something that's, totally acoustic, or we want to do, we want to try EDM. Like, oh, you know what? That sounds cool. Sure, try that thing, which is great. I've talked to a ton of artists who have been involved in the label system, and it didn't work out just because they didn't have control of really anything, and they weren't earning the way they wanted to be earning. Streaming services, we know, don't pay particularly well if you're an artist. Your millions of streams don't actually equate to a lot. And so in Web3, I think you have an opportunity to have a different, sometimes better income stream, which helps support what they're doing, especially if you're on that emerging level. We have a lot of artists who are in that, let's say, 100,000, monthly Spotify to 1 million monthly Spotify, artists who are, this is their full-time gig. All they're doing is music, but they haven't quite gotten over that hump yet where they're a known quantity. And so you feel like they should be in a place that they're very comfortable financially, but they're not yet. And I think doing like what we're doing puts them in a position to have a bit more financial security, to keep working on their craft.
Now, what does this mean for fans, right? We were talking about rewards. What does that equate to, right? Like, I'm thinking, let's say a Jordin Sparks song comes out, super popular song. If you happen to have, like you said, the NFT or the node to this song, does that mean you're making money too?
If you own the NFT, you're going to be earning a distribution of our token, which right now it's a placeholder token called Beams, which you're only earning if you have NFTs or have a node. And you can apply that toward the all access experiences. I don't know what hers are specifically, but there'll be a bunch of Jordin Sparks related content where if it's backstage, I'm assuming she's going to get pretty creative because she's pretty creative. Then you'll have access to that stuff for sure. But anybody can come in and listen to her music on there. I think we'll probably have some stuff that will be exclusive to us. I was shocked to learn from her that she has 170 songs that she hasn't released yet.
Wow.
She's just been like holding on to, waiting for the right time. She doesn't want to be in the label system. She's totally independent now. And so seeing somewhere like Gala, like, oh, how can we release these differently? And so if we're a place where her fans can come listen to exclusive tracks, if they want to be involved in the next level and buy some NFTs and really get into the, that part of things, great. They can earn a distribution of our token. They can go to the band store. So yeah, there's a lot of ways for fans to get involved.
Very interesting. Now let's jump to Gala Film, because that's new too, right? Gala Film is relatively new. How does this work? Is it the same sort of thing, but now with movies? Is it movies,
yeah,
shows? I'm not even sure.
It's going to be all of it. Yeah, that platform isn't live yet. It will be in the next few months. And again, super exciting. So we already have some projects that we're working on. Razor, which is a project through David Bianchi, which is a sci-fi series, which is amazing. We have Ghosts of Ruin, which is an animated series, which is going to be great. A bunch of other titles we're working on. And so, yeah, it'll be the same sort of thing. You can come to our platform and watch these movies, watch these documentaries, watch these shows. If you own the NFTs for those projects, you can earn rewards through our ecosystem. And again, it'll be the same thing. You can earn experiences that are more geared toward film, obviously, but maybe it'll be tickets to different film festivals, or you can visit movie sets, stuff like that, which is, for me, super cool. Like, I love music, but I'm also a movie lover. And the idea of getting to go just hang out on a film set sounds super cool.
Yeah, I'd be so down for that. I'd love to go watch like how they shoot a scene, right? Or like just be behind the scenes. I'd serve coffee, hell.
Yeah, and we're even like during production, like Ghosts of Ruin has been doing things with the community, with their NFT owners. So like you can contribute, and actually like they're voting on dialogue. They're voting on some character choices. They can submit. They just did one with graffiti where the NFT owners can submit different graffiti art that'll be featured on walls in this actual series. So it'll be like taco and graffiti on a wall in there. So as I'm watching it, I can point to it with my wife and say, oh, hey, that's me. I contributed that just because I own an NFT. So there's a lot of ways that you can involve people. Maybe you'll be extras in scenes on different movies. There's a million different ways we can connect fans to those actual productions, which is, I think, next level.
Yeah. I mean, I could hear it in your voice. I mean, I'm super excited about what's coming. But I don't know if this is true for you, Taco, but when I talk about this to my friends, I'm like, but you could have these access passes, these experiences. My friends just look at me like, who cares? Or like, I don't know. Is it the same thing? Or like, or am I the only one who's feeling like I'm convincing people about this new era that we're entering?
You know, probably better than anybody, this space is hard to onboard people because it has a pretty bad rep sometimes. Like you hear NFTs and you think, oh, it's a picture of a cat eating spaghetti and it was sold for $1 million and now it's worth 4 cents and everything is a scam. And it takes time, like, to explain to people, like there was probably a cat eating spaghetti scam. That's not what this is. It's not what Web3 is. It's not what NFTs are. Here are the real world examples of how they have real utility and why it makes sense to be involved. And I think when you can offer concrete things, like especially something like film, to point to like a Ghost of Ruin and say, here are the things they've already done for NFT holders. It's that sort of thing. Here are the real actual experiences. Like once we launch all access for music and we can point to, here are all the things you can get through this that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. That's, I think people can say, oh, that makes sense to me. I understand it. And so with a lot of these people, it'll be that slow introduction. Like maybe you'll come to Gala Film just to watch that series you want to watch because there's some great actors in it. You want to check out that anime series. You want to see that documentary. And then from there, you can be like, oh, this was really fun. What is the next level of involvement? And so later on, they might want to buy an NFT to be more involved. I think that's how it'll work. It'll be a bit of a slow growth, get people involved on like a Web 2, Web 2.5 level. And then I think they'll naturally just progress to the next thing. They'll see what we're doing. We'll introduce whatever the next film project is, and they'll know, oh, if I buy that right now, I'll be a part of XYZ leading up to the release of it. Because a lot of the film stuff is going to be things happening during the production, which for me is really exciting. It's not you're just buying an NFT for this finished product. You get to follow along the behind the scenes. And yeah, not everybody is super enthusiastic about that, but a lot of people are. I'm enthusiastic about that.
Even when I'm talking to my girlfriends, and my poor girlfriends, I keep throwing them under the bus, I guess. You know, I try to show them, you know, let's say, like, look at what Gucci's doing, look at Louis Vuitton, but it's hard for them to understand that they can be a part of it. Because I think for so long, it hasn't been tangible. Everything seems unreachable. But Web3 allows us to actually immerse ourselves with it, right?
100% you can immerse yourself in it. And we're still working on it, right? Like joining Gala Music, joining Gala Film isn't frictionless yet. We're getting there. Like we're all progressing so that we can, like the ideal is you bring people into Web3 and they don't know they're in Web3. Like you just bought an NFT and you didn't know it, but I get access to all these different things. So creating a way to bring your girlfriends on so that they're included, involved, and, you know, getting something out of the experience without them feeling like, oh, you know, I don't know if I want to buy NFTs or be a part of whatever, you know, the crypto madness is. We'll get there.
How do you, Taco, how do you convince, or are you in that space of convincing, like, does your mom get what you do? Or she's like, he like, what does she think you do? Like, oh, he just like, you know, he's into some music stuff.
Yeah, no, my mom has no idea what my job is. As far as she knows, I work for a tech company. We do music stuff. Like she'll know that we have events. It'll be like, oh, I have to be in LA. We have like an event. She doesn't really get it, which is fine. I promise you, my mom is not our target market. Um, yeah, but I have other friends, I have other family who understand and who like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. So they've bought NFTs, they've bought different crypto projects, and so
That's
yeah,
awesome. I don't have that many. That's why I'm asking, because, I mean, I've always been considered a weirdo, I guess. I worked in journalism. I was on TV. My friends were like, this is so weird, right? My friends on TV. And now they just, because I've always been weird, they're just like, oh, okay, now she's doing this like crypto weird stuff, So I've always been targeted as the weirdest friend. But no,
yeah,
no one around me, I will say, is into this stuff. So I'm always using the word convincing, but I'm not really convincing, because what I'm trying to do is really dumb it down for people. That's like the nicest way I could say it. But
yeah.
I find it's hard to even have that conversation. Like, even when people ask me like, hey, what is an NFT? I'm like, I can't really say non-fungible token. Like, it just doesn't seem natural. So,
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a two different people in the world, right? Like I have two brothers. One of them has two kids who I've bought game NFTs for because they get it, what the utility is, how it works. He understands how crypto works, how the whole thing, like it was an easy pitch for him. Like, here's the stuff I'm working on. Here's why it's cool. It's like, oh, that is cool. I'm going to get involved. My other brother is, I don't want to say he's anti-technology, but he doesn't use technology in his life.
yeah.
And so for him, even explaining what Web3 is like, this is impossible. When he found out that people know me as Taco and I have a YouTube show and like I work in this magical space, like he thought it was a laugh riot. Like, your name is Taco on there and what do you do for a living? And like, he's not somebody I would even try to convince, because he doesn't care about any of it. He doesn't care about the experiences. Like, it's just, at some point, I think for people like him, it'll just be a part of your everyday life. Like, blockchain's a part of everything. So yeah, it's not, for me, it's not trying to convince everybody that this is a thing that makes sense for them, but the people who I think are receptive and who would actually benefit from it. Like, I have friends who are real film fans, and so for them, you should look at this.
I love that analogy as well, right? Two brothers and two different thoughts and processes. I mean, my parents as well. I mean, just using their phones, they're still there. Like, how do I take a picture? Right? Like, it's probably not for them. Although I do think eventually they're just going to be in it. It was just like, I remember, I mean, I'm still very young, but I remember a time where we used to say, you don't put your credit card online, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if in my head, if I think it would be trouble, like creating a Discord account with you, then it's going to be tough to onboard you to some of the other stuff that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taco, one last thing, because you put it in our notes. You said you wanted to talk about the Waffle House. I will say, the first time I went to Florida with my partner, he was like, we got to go eat here. And I was like, what is it? He's like, it's called the Waffle House. It is the best breakfast ever. Yeah, talk to me about the Waffle House. I want to know more about it.
Sorry, that's just me mostly being silly. We talk about Waffle House a lot in the Gala community, mostly because of me, because I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's just always been one of those magical places, and I don't know why, but people let me talk about it. I don't, like, you shouldn't have brought this up. Like, people are, if Bucks watches this at any point, the CEO of Gala Music, she's going to say, come on, Taco. Like, you were doing so well. You were talking about actual Gala. She's a great sport, though. She actually came with me to Waffle House when we were at VeeCon. Like, a bunch of the Gala team came with me.
I so wish we came with you too. We love it.
Yeah, some of the Gala artists, the community. There was like 15 of us that took over this poor little Waffle House, which for me is like, that was the best part of VeeCon, which is, I know, terrible thing to say.
And I love that about the Waffle House too. We're talking about a sense of community. I really feel like whichever one you go to, you walk in and you just feel like you're at home. Everyone there is just like, what do you want to eat what do you want to eat? You want some coffee, some waffles? So it's just like the vibe there is very community driven. I feel like, you just walk in, it just feels safe, feels like home.
I'm with you.
What can you tell us? What is coming up for Gala Music, Gala Film?
Yeah.
What can we expect?
So we're recording this at a really fun time, because I think by the time this airs, our all access store will have been launched and open. So people who have been accumulating our beams, and they can use those toward the experiences we're offering, which I could not be more excited about. We have a major label deal that we're announcing that we're partnering with. Our token will be launching, our official Gala Music token will be launching sometime shortly. And so lots and lots of stuff coming there. On the film side, that's going to launch in a few months. And there's a ton of projects that are in production behind the scenes that we're not allowed to talk about yet. I'm not allowed to talk about it or I get in trouble. But tons of fun stuff happening on both sides. This is going to be a really fun summer, I feel like.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, everyone's a bit bearish on the market right now, but I just feel like this is the best opportunity to be building and then coming back, stronger with more stuff, like we learned it with Gary, right? Fail fast. So I'm with you. I'm excited for this summer. I think those who are serious and who are working on things, this is the best time. Let it be quiet.
Yeah. And get to a place where you have a platform, you have a product that people are going to enjoy and want to be a part of. And so when things do come back, you're like, oh, this is a functional thing that's amazing. Let's all jump into it.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you so much, Taco. Where can people actually, before we go, where can people go to potentially purchase these beams or the NFTs? Obviously, I'm assuming Gala Music, but how does it all work?
Yeah, they can go on just on the Gala Music platform. And from there, the NFTs are available for sale. They can buy them. If they're sold out, you can get them on OpenSea. But we drop new tracks every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays with some existing artists, some new artists. We have some big names coming up, which is great. Start collecting beams from there and get involved in the all access fan store.
Yeah,
and come hang out in Discord because we have fun. A lot of our artists are in there pretty actively.
Wow.
And so even if you never go on our platform, which obviously I want you to, you can come in there and just chat with these artists who are just hanging out and connecting with people.
I love that. And I also saw that you guys are giving away 1 free Bitcoin. I'm like, I signed up. I was like, I want to try my shot here. So I'm inviting everyone on this. I think it's a great opportunity to jump into Gala Music, Gala Film, potentially get 1 free Bitcoin. I mean, who doesn't want Bitcoin?
Yeah, for real.
Thank you so much, Taco. I always say the juiciest conversations are happening up in my DMs. You can come find me on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. I don't even know why I keep mentioning all of them. Just come find me on your favorite social media platform. Eventually, hopefully, there's only going to be one. I don't know. We'll see. Come find me. Come ask me all of your questions. And if you do have questions for Taco and for Gala Music, Gala Film, feel free to, drop them down below. As always, you can find this show. This comes out every Monday at around 12 Eastern time. So I'm excited to hop in my DMs and continue this conversation. Okay? Thanks so much, Taco, for being here. Thank you, guys. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.